Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be breaking down Oronde Gadsden II, the Los Angeles Chargers rookie tight end, a relatively unheralded pick. He did start out a little bit slow, which is understandable when given the context that he wasn't a first-round pick. It's a crowded offense with a significant amount of good pass catchers, but being connected to Justin Herbert definitely has its pros, right? Well, after a little bit of a slow start, like I mentioned, he has broken out in a massive way the past couple of weeks. But is it fluky production? Does he actually look like he deserves this production? And do we think it might continue or regress? Well, watch to the end of this video. We're going to take a look at some advanced stats, contextualize them, and then break down some film, mush it all together, and then try to assess what we should be thinking of Oronde Gadsden II in the future. And so looking at some advanced stats here, I took a look at NFL tight ends with at least 25 targets. It was a sample size of 27 here. I wanted to take out tight ends that might have scored a touchdown on one of 5 routes in which they've run and might skew some of these stats. So but I also wanted enough of a sample size, obviously, for it to mean anything. So that's about, one tight end per team, give or take here. So Gadsden II has run 187 routes so far this season, which is 91.4% of the total routes. That's very good to see. That means that even though the targets weren't necessarily coming early on, he has been a heavy part of their passing game from the tight end position. Now, when we take a look at his usage, it's all over the place, and that is beautiful. His slot snap percentage of 46.5 is awesome. That's going to allow him to take advantage of linebackers in space. We'll definitely see some of that if you watch to the end of this video. He's also played 14.4% of his snaps out wide, which is good to see that he has that positional versatility to do so. And then, he still has a 38.5% inline snap percentage. So he is being used as a traditional tight end and not, one of these slot only exclusive type of tight ends that can limit your total production or perhaps indicate to defenses what's going on when you're on the field. That is great to see. Now, when you take a look at his yards per out run, his 2.25 are third among tight ends, which is incredibly impressive considering, once again, he's just broken out a couple weeks ago, right? Now, his PFF receiving grade of 83.1 is first. I'm not one of these people that, strictly adheres to what PFF says. That's just a data point that I like to throw in there. Some people like it, some people don't. I would happen to agree that he has played very well so far. Obviously, the breakout, the stats should tell you that. But we'll take a look at really the details of that when we break down the film in a little bit. Now, taking a look at his yak per reception, his 5.2 is tied for 9th in the sample size. We'll see whether or not we think he's potentially really good, mediocre, or just poor and has been a little bit lucky in that regard. We'll take a look at that. His missed tackles forced of 2 isn't insanely impressive either. That's tied for 15th. Once again, we'll take a look at the film and see what the film says in a minute. But his contested catches, he is 100% on the season, but admittedly, it's a sample size of 3, so he's 3 for 3, but still, good hands. That is something that you're also going to want to take a look at when we break down the film, is his hands. Now, in terms of his targets, his 32 is 5.3 per game. That's probably going to go up based on the usage we've seen. We'll see if that sticks or not necessarily at that rate, but still very impressive considering, once again, he got off to a little bit of a slow start. He has 27 receptions, which is 4.5 a game. That means he's being very efficient in turning his targets into receptions, which, having Justin Herbert throwing you the football, that can definitely help. But if you're a bum, sometimes a good quarterback can't help you, right? So that's good to see. His receiving yards of 385 is 58.6 per game. That's a great mark and is probably going to go up if this usage remains the same. And he has 2 receiving touchdowns, which is 0.25 per game. Touchdowns are very fluky and aren't a very sticky stat, so that's probably going to vary a little bit. But based on his contested catch ability and the stats so far, even if it's a small sample size, have shown us that he's good in those situations, should lend itself to being a good target in the red zone. And by the way, it doesn't hurt being 6'5" and getting up to 250 pounds either, right? Taking a look at a couple more advanced stats here, his first downs per route run, which is an important metric, of 0.099 is 5th among tight ends. Very impressive number right off the bat. Once again, his yards per route run, 2.33, is 2nd among tight ends. His red zone target share of 20.0% is 15th among tight ends. Not to the best usage, but once again, to contextualize that, they do have quite a few mouths to feed. So that's really not bad when you think about it, right? His design target share of 6.7% is 26th. Hopefully that goes up, but that also is an important metric, and potentially could lead to a little bit of regression in the sense of if they don't purposefully design more targets for him, that's a bad thing for your floor as a receiver in terms of just the volume, right? And then his first read target share of 11.8% is 26th among tight ends as well. Once again, to contextualize that, there's a lot of mouths to feed, which kind of goes hand in hand with the designed target share, right? Now, his yards per target of 11.7, his ADOT, is first among tight ends. That means he's being used vertically deep down the field. Now, that leads to explosive plays, which if you look below at the very bottom, he has 5 passing plays of over 20 receiving yards, and that means he is first in that metric among tight ends so far in the NFL. So he is explosive. There is no doubt about it. And he's being used in an explosive way deep down the field. And if there is a quarterback with the arm strength and accuracy and processing to be able to get the football to you there, it is Justin Herbert. So I do like that for the now and the future. Taking a look at his yards per reception is 14.3, our fourth, and a good bit above his yards per target, suggesting he's pretty good at yards after catch, or at least consistently getting some. And his yards per team pass attempt of 1.61 is 7th among tight ends, with a 95.7 true catch rate, which is 10th among tight ends. Basically, all of the advanced stats are telling us he is a very good player immediately. And when you contextualize it, that he's being very efficient on a per route basis, which is great to see and definitely could lead to increased volume in the future when you're efficient with your volume. Now, what does the film say? Do we think that the film is going to justify the volume in which he's received the past couple of weeks and support the metrics that we're seeing here? Let's take a look. And I want to give a special shout out to my Patreon members. Thank you to Big Hunt, SP, Mage Jack, Infamy MTG, AOYOB, and The Dawn. Without your support, this would not be possible. As you're probably well aware if you've been watching my videos for a while, I cannot get monetized because of the film breakdowns I do, and even just the little videos I have where I have clips of plays in them. They get demonetized every single time, making it, therefore, impossible to collect any revenue. So, obviously, your support is greatly appreciated. And if you are so inclined to become a member, the perks would be you will get access to a private Discord where we have both a real life and fantasy football chat, as well as a voice chat if you just don't want to have to type a bunch of stuff. I'll also give you detailed roster breakdowns and roster reviews where we talk about the strengths and weaknesses of your team. Then we kind of break it down further by looking into the scoring settings themselves and the starting lineup requirements to help you build the best team to help you dominate for years to come. In both Dynasty and then in Redraft, obviously, I'd help you with a good solid game plan, especially if you know where you're drafting from. Then also give you detailed trade advice based on your specific league settings to help you dominate. Also give you access to private live streams and the ability to not only see videos at least one day early, but also the ability to suggest videos that you would like to be created. So if you would like to support the channel, I would really appreciate it. If not, just please like and subscribe. Let's get back to the video. All right, so on this first rep, we have Gadsden in line. I'm going to try to get him in various different spots in the formation here for you when I break down some of this film. What he's going to be doing is he's running a deep hook. What you're going to get from the Chargers is a switch release where you're going to have QJ on a post, and then you're going to have this receiver running on the outside boundary. You're also going to get a shallow cross from the other tight end. They're in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. As far as what the Broncos are doing on defense, you're going to have a cover 2. So you're going to have your 2 flat defenders, you're going to have your 2 deep halves, and then you're going to have your hook zones. And on the switch release, this cornerback on the top is going to follow and match coverage here, and the safety is going to match Quentin Johnston. So on this play, I just want to highlight his hands, his ability to sit down in the opening and zone. And so you'll see right here, he stops. But more importantly, while yes, he technically could have gone a couple more yards forward potentially, he wants to sit down to give Justin Herbert the time to get him the ball and make it so that there's no way the defenders can get into the play here. And Justin Herbert, the anticipatory quarterback that he is going to know exactly what he should be doing and do it. Bam. And he gets forward immediately. Isn't able to really do a ton with the ball in his hands here, but a very good rep regardless. Good feel for the soft spot and zone. Way to get upfield right away. Just good stuff. All right, taking a look at the second rep I'm going to show you, Gadsden's in the slot this time. He is going to be running an out. You're going to get a dig from Keenan Allen. You're going to get a shallow cross from McConkey. You're going to get a dig from Quentin Johnston, and then a flat that Hampton's going to kind of turn into a wheel, but it's not really going to matter. Justin Herbert is going to roll to the right, and this play is actually incomplete, but I want to highlight this because he works with Herbert during scramble drill. Now, one thing I want to mention before I get into what the defense is doing is that when it's compressed like this in the red zone, a lot of times during scramble drill, you want to head deep down the field, potentially to get a chunk gain if you can work with your quarterback into open space. But, seeing as it's so compressed here, you kind of have to work back to your quarterback in this specific situation. As far as what the Broncos are doing, they're going to be in a cover 3. So you're going to get your 3 deep third defenders right here. Hufanga is going to head to the flat. You'd have another flat, and then you would have your hook zones over the middle. And so this play is going to be incomplete, but I want to just highlight how he gets back to Justin Herbert and works with him during scramble drill. And so Herbert is going to sense the pressure of the outside rush working into the interior here, and so he's going to naturally roll to the outside. Now, he really just doesn't have much open, and Gadsden, to be fair, isn't open either. But Gadsden turns around, is looking at Herbert, and is going to figure out a way to try to get into open space so that he can help provide a lane for Justin Herbert to pass into. And so he's going to be a little bit physical, create some separation. I like that. Not called. Herbert's already thrown the football, and he tries to angle back to him to be able to get this ball for a potential toe tap touchdown. He isn't going to catch it, so hits him in the hands. It would have been a very difficult catch. To be fair, you wish he would have caught it, but regardless, not an easy catch. And I really want to highlight the fact that he was working with Justin Herbert here. This is going to be very good for their chemistry, in my opinion, and is going to potentially give him more involvement in the red zone if he's doing all the right things, even on plays where, he just wasn't able to get open. And here we have a mixture of good and bad by Gadsden. So he's going to run a stick. You're going to get a speed out by the receiver at the top. McConkey is going to run a stab route. And then you're going to get what I think should be a dig by Trey Harris, except he's going to get jammed up by the cornerback here. As far as what the Dolphins are doing, it's going to be a cover 6. So you're going to have a deep half field safety. You're going to have quarters on this side of the field. And then you'll have your flats and your hook zones, right? So Gadsden is going to sit down, he's going to find the soft spot, and he's going to prepare once again to immediately turn upfield with the ball in his hands. And everything up until that point is exactly how you would draw it up. The only issue is ball security. And now this is not one of those fumbles, if you watched my Jackson Dart video where, he just dropped the football for no reason. He did get it punched out here, but at the same time, there really is no situation where a coach is going to accept that as okay, right? And so he's going to sit down and he's going to prepare to roll to the outside. So he does everything right up until this point. He's going to get additional yardage. Now he's going to get tripped up. And then as he runs into the second defender, the ball is going to get popped out. He is going to lose the fumble and turn the football over. So like I mentioned, everything up until that point is done exactly how you would draw it up. And if he had just held onto the football here, it would have been really just about a perfect rep. And so once again, it is a little bit disappointing to see, but that is just one fumble. But I did want to mention that, no coach is going to just accept any kind of ball security issues, no matter how good you are. So while one fumble is definitely nothing to be concerned about, he does need to be careful because you just can't have that happen, recurringly. Taking a look at another rep, and this is a very good rep from Gadsden. He's going to be in line right here. He's running a deep crosser. What you're going to get is a flat route by this receiver. This receiver is going to go in motion before running a wheel. And QJ is going to run a deep comeback. As far as the defense, on this side, it's going to be match cover 3. So he's theoretically going to act in man coverage against QJ, but he's really responsible for a deep third. You're going to get a deep center field safety here. You're going to have your deep third. You're going to have your flat, a hook zone, and then you're going to get a blitz actually from the Colts. And so on this play, I want to highlight how impressive the route is, and I'll explain what's impressive about it. And so what he's going to do is run basically in a perfect line to give Justin Herbert a beautiful throwing window, because it's really easy when he's looking back here. it's really easy to drift upwards, which could lead to a potential interception or a huge hit, which could really hurt him. But also, you don't want to flatten this because you don't want to give the trailing defender here, the linebacker, any room to either pick this off or bat it down. So this is a very good rep. It's a good hands catch, and then he holds onto the football this time through the hit. So good hands catch, way to hang on to the football. Extremely good rep, and I just love what I think is awareness in his route running there. I think he's consciously running it this way. And so he's just banking yet another very good rep in the pass game. And here we have, in my opinion, his best rep of the season. And I've watched probably 50 reps so far to try to pick out things that I like or dislike about his, about not his game necessarily, but individual plays that eventually could stack up and you could say are part of his game. First of all, what they're going to get from the top is a switch release where you're going to get a dig. And then what you're going to get is what looks initially like a speed out, but it's going to turn into an out and up. As far as what the Chargers are doing, they're going to be in match cover 3. So it's technically going to act as man coverage here. But as you'll see, the linebackers are going to be in zones over the middle. And then you're going to have a deep third safety here. And you're going to get a blitzing linebacker right there. So now, what do I like about this? Well, let me explain. So I really like the tempoed release off the line of scrimmage right here. It syncs up perfectly, and it's so deceiving because this looks exactly like a pick play for a speed out. But nope, he's going to skirt and go upfield, and he's going to get held doing this. So first of all, once this play is completed, think about the fact that he was held as he was trying to break upfield. That's not going to matter. Hands catch. He's going to swerve and juke out a couple defenders, and notice how he is keeping his eyes all around the field to try to figure out where trailing defenders are. He knows from his peripheral vision that there is a player behind him. What is he going to do? He's going to hold the ball high and tight because he is not going to fumble again. Absolutely everything you could want to see from him on this rep. Extremely impressive. And finally, we get to see his yak skills in the open field, which that play, you know, especially when you contextualize that it's a tight end, is thoroughly impressive. And here we have a touchdown by Gadsden. Pretty impressive. So what he's going to run is a little post. You're going to get a vertical route by Allen on the bottom. You're going to get a dig by McConkey and then a fade by QJ. As far as what the Vikings are doing, they're going to be in a cover 2 man. So you're going to have man coverage right here. And their safeties, their deep halves are going to be very shallow as it's the red zone, but they're especially shallow. Now, against cover 2, you want to attack the boundaries of the red zone in the corners or the middle of the field and split the safeties, right? And so watch how he's able to gain leverage and then not only that, catch a football that's slightly thrown behind him too. And he's fortunate enough to get help from the Vikings linebackers who's in charge of covering him by giving him the desired inside leverage that he wants on this post. So definitely helped, but one thing I like is not only is he helped with that leverage, he attacks the guy in man coverage to force him to continue to retreat before breaking inwards. And that's going to create additional separation and a throwing window for Justin Herbert. Beautiful. Catches the ball slightly behind him. Not, it wasn't the most incredible catch I've ever seen, but still good hands. And I really have only seen one drop on film so far, which I didn't include, but it was on a tight end screen where the edge defender realized what was happening. And if he would have caught it, he would have been tackled for a probably 4-yard loss. So really, I haven't seen any issues with his hands at all. Really good stuff he's stacking up on film here. And taking a look at this final rep here, we're going to get a deep post by Gadsden that's going to be followed by a deep dig and then a speed out. As far as what the Vikings are doing, they're going to be in cover 6. So you're going to have a deep half field safety here, and then quarters on this side of the field. You're going to have your hook zones underneath, and then you're going to have your flat defender here. This safety is going to be wildly out of position and too far upfield. He is going to, for that reason, fail to carry his responsibility in the play. And the linebacker is not going to get enough depth because he's going to think that he has safety help over the top. So this is just a broken play, but still, he catches the ball, and watch what he does afterwards. So Justin Herbert is processing, trying to figure out where he wants to go with it. He sees right now that this safety is biting down and is not going to be able to recover. And so he's going to step up into this throw, and while throwing on the run, it's going to take a second to get to him, but regardless, he catches the football once again, and then watch what he does. He's swerving, but keeping the ball high and tight because he does not want to fumble again. Man, I just love everything that he's doing, man. He's great before the catch, and his ability to find soft spots in zone coverage, sit down. He gets the ball. He immediately turns into a runner, heads up field, is swerving people. After that one fumble where, to be fair to him, he was tackled, thrown forward, and then while he was kind of, horizontal, had the ball punched out, he's been holding it high and tight. I mean, everything you want from him as a receiver, he is giving you. And, to be connected to Justin Herbert for the foreseeable future is a great thing. Now, in terms of for fantasy evaluation of him, obviously he's been producing at an elite level. I do worry with the target competition in that there's just a lot of mouths to feed. We've seen with the emergence of Gadsden, for instance, that QJ has basically disappeared. Now, QJ was dealing with injury, and I suspect he's playing, not quite at 100% if I'm being honest with you. But regardless, he is broken out, and everything I'm seeing on tape for the most part is absolutely fantastic. This guy has the makings of being a very, very high weekly upside player, in my opinion, but with a little bit more fluctuation just due to the environment and how many pass catchers there are. But regardless, I think you need to keep this guy on your team. Obviously, if you're in redraft, if you're in dynasty, if you could pivot off of him for somebody that projects to get more consistent volume while also having a very good ceiling, I could definitely understand that. But don't sell this guy cheap. He is a real talent. He's connected to Justin Herbert. And man, I've been nothing but impressed. But what do you think? Have you been as impressed as I am? What do you think of him in fantasy? Do you think he has what it takes to be, a real difference maker based on some of the concerns I've espoused, potentially things that I haven't mentioned? Let me know below in the comments section. With that being said, once again, I'm unable to collect any revenue because I do these film breakdowns and they get copyrighted, and I'm not allowed to become a YouTube partner. So if you would be so kind and can afford to, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my Patreon. I'm going to leave that below in the comment section. If you do not wish to, or you cannot, if you could just give the video a like, comment below, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, I'd really appreciate it. And so with that, thanks guys. I hope you have a great week in fantasy. I hope you crush your matchups. Thanks, and have a good day.